All right, everybody. So I had a totally different video that I was going to do today, but then I came across this Substack, and this is very important, especially if you reside here in New York, because remember the quarantine and isolation, quote unquote, the quarantine concentration camp regulation slash law. Let's get into this. Now, bear with me here because this is a lot. This is a big article, and I'm going to read it for you guys because I really want everyone to, if you don't get a chance to go over to, so breaking news, the appellate court paves the way for quarantine camps. This is the attorney, okay? So this is attorney Bobby Ann Coxx Substack. You can go here if you want to read the article for yourself, but I'm going to read it for us right now. You can go and look into this for yourself. So, like I just said, here we go. I hope you're sitting down when you read this article. There is absolutely no way I can possibly sugarcoat this, so I'll just be frank. The New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division's 4th Judicial Department has issued their ruling in our quarantine lawsuit against Governor Kathy Hochul and her Department of Health, or should I say the demons of hell, because that's what they are. And they have ruled against the will of the people. You and I, folks. So, here we go. If you feel like you just got sucker punched in the gut, join the club, my friends. The court has dismissed our lawsuit, not because we are wrong in our argument. No. Indeed, we are dead right. In fact, the court did not even touch the merits of the case. How could they? Instead, the court unbelievably ruled that my plaintiffs somehow do not have standing to sue. If your brain is racing 100 miles an hour right now trying to figure this out, don't worry. You are definitely not alone. Every single person I have told about this court ruling, from my plaintiffs to fellow attorneys to family members and so on, has been downright flabbergasted, rightfully so. One of my family members told me I need to break it down to her like she was a kindergartner. I'll do the same for you now because this issue is so crucial for you to understand and then for you to explain to others. What the appellate division court is saying by reversing the lower court, so they reversed it, okay? They reversed the initial, anyway, reversing the lower court and then dismissing our case for lack of standing is that they believe that Senator George Borrello, Assemblyman Chris Tague, Congressman Mike Lawler, and the citizens group Uniting New York State did not have the right to bring this lawsuit last year against the governor and her demons of hell, the Department of Health, for their heinous isolation and quarantine procedures regulation. Why not? Because according to this court, my plaintiffs were not injured by the regulation. So in order for them to sue, anyway, let me just continue. Why not? Because the court seems to insinuate that the only person with the right to sue is someone who has been forcibly locked in their home against their will or ripped from their home, taken from their loved ones, and thrown into a quarantine detention center, facility, institution, camp, etc. Pick your own noun. Doesn't matter. Yeah, isn't that some shit? The court insinuates that apparently only that person would be injured, not my plaintiffs. The reason their logic is flawed is because we sued pursuant to the separation of powers doctrine, arguing that the governor and her demons of hell lacked the constitutional authority to make that horrendous regulation in the first place. In other words, in short, my legislator plaintiffs were injured because Hochul and her Department of Health executive branch stole the legislator's power to make laws, the legislative branch, okay? When they created the quarantine regulation, which was a law, despite the fact that the Department of Health called it a regulation, it was a law, okay? All right? The trial court correctly ruled in our favor last summer and struck the reg down for that exact reason, amongst others. If you're still scratching your head wondering how on earth it is possible that the executive branch stealing power from the legislative branch does not constitute an injury to the members of the legislature and us, the people, because that's who represents us, right? Then join the club. Of note, it was so obvious to the trial court judge last year that my plaintiffs had standing that he didn't even discuss it in his decision. You can read that decision here if you're interested. So you can go to Attorney Cox's, her Substack here and follow that if you'd like. So here's a couple of questions that she assumes us, the public, are going to ask, and she tries to answer. So here's the Q&A. Okay, I'm sure you have 1,000 questions, so I'll try to predict and answer some here. Which court issued the decision? It is the New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division in the 4th Judicial Department. It is the middle court in the 3 levels of New York State courts, meaning we began last year at the trial court level, New York State Supreme Court in Cattaraugus County. We won there. Then the governor appealed to the next court, which is the Appellate Division, and that is who reversed the trial court and dismissed our lawsuit. Who were the judges? And this is important right here, because these are the fascists. These are the tyrannical bastards that want to take our constitutional rights away, and they're not hiding it, okay? This is insane. Who were the judges? It was a panel of 5 judges that decided the appeal. They are all appointed by a governor. On my panel, I had 2 Hochul appointees, 2 Cuomo appointees, same shit, right? And 1 Pataki appointee, same shit. A group of fascist demons. Anyway, you can watch the oral argument from September here. The Attorney General's office argued first and starts at 48-minute mark, and then I was next, and that starts at 1 hour and 2-minute mark. Is there another court above this one that I can appeal to now? Yes. The final and highest court in New York State is the Court of Appeals. It sits in Albany and is presided over by a panel of 7 judges. They too are all appointed by a governor. They do not hear all cases that apply to the court, similar to the U.S. Supreme Court. So I would have to draft a motion to try to convince the High Court to hear our case. Now that this court overturned the lower court's decision, will Rule 213, the quarantine regulation, be reinstated? Very good. Yep. Unfortunately, this court has opened the door and paved the way for Hochul and her Department of Health demons of hell to reissue the anti-freedom, anti-American regulation. Fire at will. Fire at will is what the court has proverbially told them. There is nothing stopping the tyranny of the executive branch now. Does Rule 13 allow Hochul and her demons of hell to set up actual quarantine camps? Yeah, it does. The reason the public had dubbed this regulation the quarantine camp regulation is because the language in the reg make it crystal clear that the Department of Health, that's good, can pull you from your home and your life, and with the force of police, hold you anywhere they deem appropriate, including other residential or temporary housing. Remember, the regulation says they don't have to prove you're sick. They can hold you for however long they want, and there is no way for you to get out of lockup or lockdown unless you get a lawyer and sue them. You can you can read articles I've written and interviews I have done about the regulation and the lawsuit on my Substack here or on my website at www.coxlawyers.com. By the way, I fact-checked the Associated Press phony fact-check article that ran shortly after my oral argument in September, and I determined their article to be false. It's particularly surprising because the AP reporter, Associated Press reporter, contacted us, my plaintiffs and me, for clarification prior to publishing her false article. That's what they do. That's what demons do. Clearly, she ignored what we said. Anyway, this dystopian regulation absolutely allows Hochul and her demons of hell, Department of Hell, Department of Health, whatever you want to call these bastards, to institute quarantine locations, whether you call them facilities, institution, halls, or camps, it matters not. It's still unconstitutional. What do my plaintiffs think? Obviously, they are very upset by this decision. An official press release will go out shortly. Stay tuned, and of course, I will share it with you via Substack and my Twitter at Attorney Coxx. I would recommend and suggest that everybody go and, read this article. Again, go over it with a fine-tooth comb. If this doesn't prove to you that the tyranny is real, like nothing else will, this is a very scary situation. There's no limit to how far they're willing to go to forego our constitutional rights, to take away our liberties, to take away our freedoms. They don't care. This is what they are after. This is the end game. This is why they are allowing and funding with our hard-earned taxpayer dollar a motherfucking legal invasion of our country, and in particular, the state of New York. And even more in particular, the city of New York, which is where they're all being housed. But anyway, they're not going to stop. They will utilize the police department to kick in the door, waving the 4-4, and come and snatch you up, and ain't nobody gonna hear from you no more until you get an attorney and sue. If they even give you the phone, because you have no rights. The regulation, which could be a law, which right now it is. Bobby Ann Cox says she's gonna go fight it, but that's it. This is it. This is the type of tyranny that I'm talking about. This is the evil that we are dealing with. These people do not have a conscience. They keep us at each other's throats so that we don't pay attention to these ongoing, this ongoing attack on the people to take everything away from us that makes America America, that makes this country great. If by taking care of other countries and funding other wars doesn't prove to you that this truly is America last, nothing else will. Don't let them take away our freedoms. Pay attention to stuff like this. Go follow this attorney on Twitter. Go read the Substack. Read the entire article. I read a lot of it. There's still more. I read you what I felt was most poignant. And you saw how long that was. There's still more. So please, do yourself a favor. Go check it out. Everybody, start to wake up. We have no other choice. It's either that or get ready to be China. Or worse, get ready to be North Korea. Listen, if you haven't done so, go ahead, go follow me on Twitter, add me on Instagram. Absolutely stay tuned to A Knoxx We Trust right here on YouTube, because I am going to be bringing even more content. I will be bringing this information to you as I get it, and I will always offer my opinions on what I believe is true and just for our country and for our people. That's my stupid ass honey girl dog barking her head off because she heard someone knocking at the door. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining me, everybody. 1.